At PDAC 2025, I'm Angela Harmantis, and I'm joined by Ian Rodger, who's the CEO of Jindalee Lithium. Ian, lovely to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, I don't know if we've spoken to you before, so give us a quick introduction to Jindalee Lithium. Big resource in America.
Yep. So we're we're an Australian listed company, but we're focused on US lithium projects. We've got our flagship project, the McDermitt project. It's in the border of Oregon and Nevada, and it's one of the largest in the US. And we've just recently completed our pre-feasibility study, the tail end of last year, which outlines a multi-generational, large-scale, low-cost source of American-made battery-grade lithium chemicals. So it's a really exciting time for the company. Even despite the sort of market headwinds in the lithium space, we've managed to really push the company forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a strategic location to be sure, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the fact is that China controls the lithium chemical market. There's been a big push with the new administration around onshoring critical mineral supply, and the projects that are getting the most traction are the ones that have the potential to make the most difference. And we're one of the biggest, and we're one of the most advanced. Ironically, as an ASX listed company, we're trying to build a platform in North America. We have a decent team over here, but there's a value disconnect between we're one of the most advanced lithium sedimentary projects in the US, but also one of the cheapest. So it's one of the reasons we're over here this week.
Absolutely, at PDAC 2025. So, listen, you just had a recent announcement, an asset sale, was it? You're generating some cash for the company?
The context for Jindalee is important. We've sort of been listed for 22 years. We've created a lot of value for shareholders along the way through a project generation model where we had exploration success, project development, JV or sales. And so we've got very loyal support in our shareholder base, very tight share register. And we've created a lot of value for shareholders along the way. And the tail end, so as part of that strategy, we've been able to fund ourselves through, we went 18 years without raising any equity. So we've got, very few shares on issue. And we sold, I guess how that's linked to the sale you just mentioned was we did a spin out of our Australian assets about 2 years ago. And that was some gold and nickel and lithium early stage exploration assets. And part of our strategy was then to give a rights issue to our existing shareholders, get exposure to that company, and we retained a 25% stake, and that recently appreciated in value, and so we managed to sell a 25% stake to raise a bit under 3 million Aussie dollars, and we're in the bottom of the lithium market right now, so we've got a track record of being good stewards of capital and not diluting our shareholder base, and so that funding's now given us the opportunity to get through a bunch of catalysts this year that will really position the company for success into 2026.
Well, look, as we wrap up, take us through some of those catalysts. You've got the PFS in the bag. What's next?
Yep. So we're progressing because of the size of the asset. We've had good engagement with US government agencies. We've got to deal with the DOE, but potentially the more material one is a Department of Defence grant application that we've got afoot that could co-fund the next stage of work. So we're trying to close that out in the first half of this year. We're progressing. We've got a big permitting milestone to allow us to do the next stage of work, which is due probably Q3 this year. And then we're pretty close to appointing some advisors. We've had a lot of inbound interest from different groups around partnering on the asset. And so we're going to wrap some structure around that and ideally bring on a partner later in the year to help fund the next stage of work. So we've got a pretty interesting year ahead.
Excellent. Well, look, we'll be watching this story. Ian, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. For Proactive, I'm Angela Harmantis.